Hello again. You ready to paint another fantastic picture? Well, let's do it. I'm going to have them run all the colors across the screen, so in case you've missed them in any of the shows, you can pick up all the colors that we're using. And while they're doing that, let's get started. I'm going to start today with a little bit of alizarin crimson. And we'll just put a little bit on the large brush. Maybe today we'll just have some fun. Let's just go right into the center of the canvas here with the crimson. Just making the little crisscross strokes and let it blend upward. There we go. And down here we'll just go back and forth like that. Okay. Now we'll take and dip into a little bit of phthalo blue and go right to the very top. Go all the way across the canvas. And just let this work right down to the pink. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back into the phthalo blue and add just a tiny bit of phthalo green. Just let them mix together on the brush. And we'll come from the outside in, and don't kill all your pink area in here. Like so. There we go. Okay, now let's clean the brush and bring all this together. All right, with a nice clean brush here, I just want to bring the pink and the blue together. Okay. So you can't tell where one stops and the other one starts. And then we'll just blend out all the brush strokes. All right. Now then, let's take the palette knife. We'll take a little bit of crimson and a little bit of the blue. And we'll take crimson and a little bit of the phthalo blue. Just mix them together here. More crimson than blue. And we'll make sort of a purplish color, lavender. And let's make some little streaky clouds in here. We're pushing very hard into the canvas. There. Just really push this paint right into the fabric. Okay, and we're looking just for basic general little shapes here. Maybe a couple little ones over in here. Don't want this side to get jealous. Something like so. Now, with a clean dry brush, very lightly, just brush across, very lightly. There we go. Super way to make little clouds. Now, maybe we want to highlight these clouds a little bit. So let's take a little bit of yellow and a touch of the permanent red and mix it together. We'll make sort of an orangey looking color here just to highlight with. And a very small amount of paint, and we go right above the dark and just lay a little of that on there. Just here and there. Don't cover up all your dark. Just a little here and there. Let it bounce around and play and just where you think light would hit. There. Okay. And maybe a little right here and there. And when you're at home, you can really take your time and do a lot of detail here. And with a dry brush, just very gently blend this out. There we go. Very, very little pressure on the brush. Almost let a hair touch the canvas. Now, let's take a little more crimson and let's use some Prussian blue. It's a little stronger. Crimson and Prussian blue. And let's go right up in here and make a happy little mountain. Just a simple little mountain. There we are. Just to get your base shape on there, general outline of the mountain. take off all the excess paint, and then with a large brush, I'm just going to pull it down so it just blends right down into nothing. Okay, now while I have that color on my palette, I'm going to go ahead and reflect this mountain into the water. We're getting a lot of requests wanting to reflect mountains into the water. So just work on your basic shape and painting backwards. Just your basic shape. Like so. And with a large brush, we'll pull this in the opposite direction. So already we have a basic reflection into the water. There we are. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of white and put the smallest amount of permanent red into it. Just enough to give it a little pinkish glow. We don't want to set this mountain on fire. Just a nice pinkish glow. And we'll highlight this. Just follow the contour of the mountain. There we are. Maybe a little touch over in here. Now for the shadow, I'll use a little bit of the phthalo blue and white. Maybe I'll put just a little tiny bit of that purple in there just to calm that blue down a little bit. It's very bright. There, beautiful. Now let's put some happy little shadows in here. Let the paint break, follow right along your mouth. We'll have a little shadow in there. Divide those two up a little. A little bit in here. Little touch. Doo, 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 doo. Now we'll take a clean, dry brush and very gently tap the bottom just to create some mist. Just like so. A little bit over in this direction. Let's sharpen this one up a little. It bothers me right here. I want him to be a little more distinct. There we go. That's better. Give him a little more character. Now, down here on the bottom, we'll just lay some indications of highlights here and there. Just some indications. Now this paint I'm pushing very hard into the canvas because I don't want it to move. Okay. Now we'll tap that a little bit just to take off excess paint. Now when you're doing reflections like this, normally we pull straight down to create a reflection. This time I'm going to go up. Watch what happens. Pull it up, clean your brush. Just wipe off the excess paint because you don't want to destroy these nice edges. In between each stroke, I'm wiping the excess paint off the brush. Okay. Now from here, we can pull down. That's no problem. And then gently we go across. Don't want to lose this image. Okay, and that quick we have a reflection of a mountain. Okay, let's put some happy little trees and stuff back in here. And I'm going to use some Van Dyke brown, alizarin crimson mixed together. Brown and crimson. And we'll go right along in here and just wherever you think there might be a little tree or a little bush, just drop him in. This is your world. Let it happen. With a large brush, I'm going to grab just the bottom and pull a little bit of that down so it also creates a reflection. There we go. Now, I'm going to use a a 1-inch brush with a little bit of magic white on it, just to thin the paint. And we'll go into some cad yellow and a little bit of permanent red here. Make a nice bright color. And then we can begin highlighting these. Look at that son of a gun. After all these years, it still fascinates me. And we can drop a little bit of that color down in here just to create some reflections. There we go. I'm going to add a tiny, tiny touch of sap green to it, just to dull it down a little bit. There we go. That is nice. And it works so well. Okay, now with a clean, dry brush, just barely touch, whisper light. You almost touch the canvas with a hair, and then go gently across. And let's take some brown, sap green, and a little bit of blue. Brown, sap green, and blue, in about equal parts. And let's put some little evergreens back in the background. Always like little evergreens, they're pretty. And they remind me of home in Alaska. There we are, just some little ones. We'll give him a little friend here. There. Maybe there's one a little bigger right here. And these are your trees, so they can be as big or as small as you want them. Okay, that gives us a few little trees. Now with a palette knife and a little bit of the magic white, and I'm going to put a touch of brown into it, just to dull it down a little. We'll put a happy little water line back here. There. Act just like you're trying to cut a hole right through the canvas. Maybe there's a little ripple or two on the water. Just here and there. Okay. Now, let's do something a little bit different than we've done in the past. I'm going to put a little bit of paint thinner into the brush. And I'm going to pull it first through Van Dyke Brown. Now, there's a tiny bit of thinner on the brush, just enough to thin the paint a tiny, tiny bit. We'll go through brown on one side. Then I'm going to turn the brush over, and over here I'm going to go through white. So I've got brown on one side of the brush, white on the other. Brown and white. All right, now let's put some little trees right here. Touch the canvas and pull. And we get both sides of the tree at once. Brown with white. Maybe he's got another tree that lives right here. Okay, brown and white. Put a third one right in here. We'll let this one just sort of lean over. He's tired, old tree. Okay, that was so much fun. Let's double load another brush here. A little bit of the paint thinner just to thin it. And I'll go into sap green. Just load the bristles full of sap green. And on the other side, we'll go through yellow. So we have sap green on one side, yellow on the other. Now, all we're going to do now is just begin tapping the canvas. And we get highlight and shadow all in one stroke. Okay, sap green, and then back through the yellow. There we go. Ooh, I almost messed up and put the dark on top. And you'd have caught me. Okay, sap green and yellow. put some little leaves on this one. And that's just a super simple little way to make trees. It's very, very effective and very nice. Now let's go back to the crimson and the brown mixed together, and we'll put some little bushes down here on their foots. There we go. Okay, and let's just reflect that right into the water. With a large brush, now we can take and pull these reflections down, straight down. Now maybe you want to reflect some of these trees into the water. So load the brush the same way, brown on one side, white on the other. And then just do your basic shapes here. Just like so. Brown and white. Just enough to give some indications. Then I'll go back to the brush that has the sap green and the yellow on it. And just take and tap in a few little things here and there. Just want to give some indications down here in the water. Okay. Like so. We'll just use the other corner and do this very rapidly. Just so you have an idea. And very gently, just enough to whisper it. Maybe we'll move some of these trunks so it really looks like water. Okay. Now I'm going to add a little tiny bit more magic white and go back into the yellow. A little bit of the permanent red. And let's highlight these little bushes right here. And reflect those colors right into the water. Okay, now into some ochre. Once again, a little more of the magic white. Into a little bit of ochre. Then we'll reflect that right into the water. With our clean, dry brush, then we touch and just gently pull down and go across. Okay. Now, let's take a little bit of brown and put us a shoreline in there. There we go. Just straight Van Dyke brown to start with. Put a happy little bank in there. Need some ground for all these things to set on. And we'll use some white and brown, a little touch of blue in it to make some highlights. Barely touch, barely touch. Like so. A little magic white to make us a waterline underneath. There we go. Bet you never thought you could paint pictures like this. And you can. A few little things that run down here onto the base. Okay, now we can come over to the other side. Let's use one of these almighty brushes here. And we'll take a little bit of the Van Dyke brown, a little burnt umber, just mix it on the brush. And let's just fire in some pretty things right in here. Some great big bushes and stuff that live right along here. Just let them go. And you know, those trees that we made by double loading the brush were so much fun. Let's do another one. Go into the brown. On one side of the brush, white on the other. Okay, how about if we have one right there? There he comes. Brown. I was only going to do one, wasn't I? Got carried away. Let's put another one right here. Like so. We'll let him be behind those bushes back here. Now let's put a little bit of highlight on these bushes. Just a touch. to get darker and darker and darker as it comes forward. Clean this brush up. A little more magic white. And we'll take a little yellow, a little permanent red. And let's put a little sparkler right out here. Oh, there we are. Okay. Let's take a little bit of the brown and begin building us a little bank out in here. Something like so. And with a large brush, I'm going to grab a little bit of this and pull downward, just to make us some more reflections. Like that. Okay, now, let's take the brush we had loaded with sap green on one side and yellow on the other, and do that again. And we'll put a few little highlights on these trees and just touch. Just touch. Look at that. Isn't that a fantastic way to make a lot of leaves? Okay. Sap green and yellow. That's all we're using. Go. Now, if we wanted to put a little more detail in here, we can take a thin oil, mix it with some brown, and maybe just show a few little limbs here and there. Just some indications. Maybe there's an old dead one that hangs out through here. Like so. Okay. Maybe here and there. Just indications. Okay, now let's take and lay a little bit of highlight on these stones here. Just a tiny bit. Then we'll use the fan brush with a little bit of green and yellow and all the colors that we're using here mixed up, and just sort of bring all this together. Like that. Let's crease that right there. There, soften that, make it real soft. Now I'm going to take just a tiny bit of magic white and mix it with firm white. Just to thin the firm white down a little bit. And let's come right along in here and swirl that around. Like so. And with some more brown. Oops, got a hair hanging there. Can pull that right on down like this. And lay a little bit of highlight on it. And back to our fan brush with a little yellow and green, the reds all mixed together on it. And just bring that all together. And we can take just a clean knife and lay a few little sticks here and there. You need these little sticks to show distance in the painting. Okay, let's go back over here and let me put a few sticks in. I want to show distance here too. This is a fun little painting. It's a little bit different than a lot of the things that we've done in the past. But experiment, practice. It's unbelievable what you can do if you'll just take the time to practice a little bit, enjoy it. Just have a super good time. I want to push this tree just a tiny bit further back, so I'm going to put a bush right here in the front. Push him on back a little bit. Well, we just got all kind of nice little things happening in here. A few little sticks. All right. I want to sign this one and then talk just a few minutes about the painting we're going to do next week. So let me get a little thin oil here. A little bit of the permanent red. put a signature right on this one. Just like so. Okay, there we are. Now, next week, we're going to do a fantastic painting like you've never seen before, I think. What I want you to do, if you're going to paint along with us, is take a canvas, and we're going to paint vertical. That's up and down. I'd go about 11 inches up and paint the whole bottom of it black and leave the white, the top white. And you won't believe what we'll do. Until next week, happy painting.